And to talk to us a little more about that budget and this impending government shutdown, Congressman Richard Hanna joins us live on the phone right now. Congressman, how are you this afternoon?
Doing well, thank you.
Well, first thing I have to ask is, what's the atmosphere like down there with all of this looming?
Tense, and no one knows what the outcome will be. I doubt if there's a single person on the Hill who has an idea of how this will conclude.
Do you, in your own opinion, do you see a shutdown actually happening tonight?
People are preparing for it. All the staff here is preparing for it. Of course, we are not interested in the shutdown, have not been. I think it's a sign of failure and on the part of the Congress that they can't get a budget passed. I think we have to remember that this is a budget that should have been passed by the last Congress and was not, and now we're trying to work through it again. And I think people that are calling our office and emailing us, it's about 3 to 1 that do not want it to shut down, and I understand there's a few people who are angry and frustrated and sick of watching this demagoguery that's going on in Washington that want the government shut down, but it benefits no one. It interferes with everything that we know about. Tens of thousands of workers would be laid off. The way it stands, veterans would have difficulties getting paid, at least in terms of it may not happen as quickly. Just so many things, the court system, park systems, rural development, passports, all of the things we know would stop.
Now, in the piece we just saw from a reporter, Jennifer Johnson, we heard that one of the big stumbling blocks between the parties in these negotiations is this federal funding for Planned Parenthood. You know, in the past election, one of the biggest issues was jobs and the economy. Is the budget issue becoming a social issue? Are we moving a little off track here? I mean, what's your thought on that?
Yes, we are off track, and I've maintained that in my 3 months of being here, that make it about the budget, make it about cost cutting, and get this passed and move on to the bigger issues of entitlements, because that is really where the conversation is going to begin. It's going to put this country back on a fiscally responsible path. These are not small dollars that we're talking about now, but it is important that we cut back on the 2011 budget, and I think that we could probably resolve this without these social issues involved in the process. And I'm one of those people who believes that we should have made it about the money, made it about the dollars and the cutbacks, and moved onward to the bigger issues.
What's the whole process been like these past few days for you as a freshman congressman as you've seen this all unfold? Well,
as one of the more independent people down here, it's interesting for me because I found myself being made maybe more valuable in the conversation rather than less, because I have maintained all along that this budget should be about the budget and we should get on to the bigger issues, as I've said, and that pulling in a lot of things that from the periphery that, frankly, you send over to the Senate or the President, they absolutely cannot sign, kind of guarantees failure. And we need compromise. On the other hand, the Senate and has failed to come up with a bill of its own, and that has made it very difficult. So these constant continuing resolutions have gotten us this far, and we proposed one yesterday that would get us another week, which I signed on to, and that was rejected by the President. So we simply are at an impasse. My hope is that they resolve this today, that they save some of these battles, which I know are very important to a lot of people, but save them for another day, keep the government open, and stop this impasse.
Now, Congressman, it's my understanding this is only a temporary measure good until about September 30th. So what happens if this does happen? What happens between now and September 30th?
Well, that's the end of the fiscal year, so the September 30th, so that if we can get a resolution passed to fund the government through the rest of the year, we can get on to the big issues, and I think people really need to pay attention to how we resolve issues like Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, because whether people think that we're trying to save them or not, the truth is they're failing under their own weight, and if we don't begin to have a plan that makes them sustainable over time, they will be broke, they will be shut down, they will not exist anyway. We simply have run out of time and room to put these decisions off, and that's why it's frustrating to watch us bogged down right now on on this rather small portion of the total money required. We also need to cut back. We also need to begin to talk about raising the debt limit and how we're going to handle that. So,
Congressman, the last question I want to ask you is, what is your advice to your peers there in Washington to finally reach an agreement and get this done?
my advice would be and is to pull these issues off the table, get a budget resolution that people can agree on, and move on to the big issues and save these battles for another day.
All right, Congressman Richard Hanna, we thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.